The city will also share data to boost competitiveness and create jobs. In international news, a suspect in a shooting at a White House Correspondents' Dinner event on the 25th sent a statement to his family before the attack. The suspect, called Thomas Allen 31, did not name President Donald Trump directly, but called him a criminal. He also suggested senior officials could be targets. Allen said he acted as a citizen and would not allow crimes to continue. And now for today's weather. Current temperatures are 23 degrees Celsius under clear skies. It will be partly cloudy at times and dry. That wraps up this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
Your best choice. BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
Coming up next is Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon. BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
Good morning and welcome to Busan Worldwide. The English poet William Blake once wrote, "To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wild flower." 네, 한 알의 모래 속에서 세계를 보고 한 송이 들꽃 속에서 천국을 본다. In our lives, we often focus on big stories and grand experiences, but sometimes it's the simple moments that stay with us the most. A simple scene or a single image can leave a strong impression. When everything unnecessary is taken away, what's left can feel even more powerful. So maybe being short and simple isn't just about time. It's about focusing on what really matters, and instead of asking how much we see or experience, maybe we should ask, what do we actually remember in the end? Well, this is Busan Worldwide, and I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon.
This is Busan Worldwide, your window into Busan, your bridge to the world.
Welcome, welcome. You're listening live on this Monday morning, April 27th on BEFM 부산 영어 방송, 90.5 FM in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwan, and Noksan areas. Welcome, welcome. Now we have Benny-nim saying happy Monday, everyone. Kevin-nim asking, hello, Stephanie. How was your weekend? It was wonderful. The weather here in Busan was beautiful, almost like summer-like, right? Almost hot, so we really enjoyed it. I walked around Haeundae and Haeridanggil as well. Lots of people, but I really enjoyed it. How about you? Let us know. We also have Jebonglini messaging in saying good morning from Singapore. 와이프랑 여행 왔어요. Hope you enjoy Singapore. Ooh, I want to go one day. You're going to have to share some pictures with us. Now, here in Busan, a new exhibition is bringing together technology and art. Moving on Asia, post-socially engaged art is now on view at the Busan Cultural Center through June 18th. 네, 부산에서 지금 Moving on Asia 포스트 사회 참여 예술 전시가 6월 18일부터 부산 문화회관에서 선보이고 있는데요. Now, artists from 14 countries are taking part using tools like AI and 3D graphics to talk about today's social issues in creative ways. Technology is no longer just a tool. It's becoming a way for artists to express ideas and emotions more clearly. And we're seeing the same change in film. The 43rd Busan International Short Film Festival opened on April 23rd and runs through tomorrow. Films from 60 countries are being screened, and this year, France is the guest country, making and marking 140 years of diplomatic ties with Korea. So for today's The Interview, we'll be joined by AlaricHamacher, a programmer at the festival. And we're going to talk about how film is changing with new technology and why short films still have a unique impact. So stay tuned for that. But before we jump into that, let's talk about today's text topic question. What's the most memorable special effect you've ever seen in a movie? Again, what's the most memorable special effect you've ever seen in a movie? These days, movies are just full of impressive visual effects, 3D scenes, CGI, right? But think about the one that really stayed with you, the one that you remember. Was it something visually stunning, beautiful, or a scene that felt very real? So let me know. 네, 오늘의 문자 주제 알려드릴게요. 지금까지 가장 기억에 남는 영화 속 특수 효과는 무엇인가요? Let me know. You can send us your messages to pound 9050 for 101 or reach us for free through Kakao Talk or YouTube live chat. Recently, I watched a movie called Hollow Man, and it's from year 2000. It's not my type of movie, but I watched it anyway, and I didn't know it was going to be that scary. But the man, just spoiler, but it was from 25 years ago, right? But he becomes invisible, right? But in that process, I thought it's a movie from 2000, right? But the whole disappearing CGI with the muscles and then the blood vessels and the bones, I thought it was impressive. It was really impressive to me because it was back in 2000, but also it was very specific and very detailed. And it was from 26 years ago, so I was very impressed watching it. I watched it about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, wow, look at that. And I usually don't say stuff like that, so I was impressed. Just like that, let me know. We have Kevin Lee messaging in saying it used to be Star Wars, but Avatar beat it. Ooh, yes, Avatar as well. Beautiful, beautiful. I forgot about that. We also have Jebong Lim saying Singapore is hot as well. 31 degrees. Wow, that is hot. Well, I hope you enjoy it. With that, we're going to jump into today's The Interview. The time is now 11:11, and we're going to start The Interview. Now, across Busan, dozens of short yet intense stories are unfolding on screens every single day. The Busan International Short Film Festival kicked off on the 23rd and is currently underway for a 6-day journey at the Busan Cinema Center and Motungi Center Theater as well. Notably through programs such as the AI Film Special Exhibition, discussions and conversations with directors, this festival is really posing a profound question. How far can cinema evolve? So today we're joined by AlaricHamacher, a programmer for the Busan International Short Film Festival.
부산국제단편영화제가 지난 23일 개막해 현재 영화의 전당과 모퉁이 극장 등에서 6일간의 여정을 이어가고 있는데요. 오늘 더 인터뷰에선 알라릭하마허 부산국제단편영화제 프로그래머와 함께합니다. Welcome to Busan Worldwide. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio today.
Well, thank you very much for having me here.
Well, first, could you say hello to our listeners and share how you came to have a connection with Korea, specifically with the Busan International Short Film Festival?
Okay, so I first came to Korea, this was in 2007, and I've been actually making and producing movies in Germany for many years.
Right.
And after my graduation from the film school, I wanted to specialize in something that is really particular, that not everybody can do. And at that time, there was also the change from analog cinema to digital cinema.
Right.
And there was a very big new opportunity to create movies that would be in three-dimensional, something which is very difficult to show with a 35mm projector, and I decided to specialize on this. And after a couple of years, I was very lucky because suddenly I heard that in Korea new technologies were developed.
Right.
And there were televisions in 3D, there were broadcastings in 3D. So I was invited to become a trainer, a teacher for camera technology for many of the Korean broadcasting stations.
Wow.
And I love this country, and I'm really happy to be here since. And the Busan Short Film Festival has actually always had a very particular section oriented to new technologies.
Right.
And we'll talk about this maybe a bit later, but the short films are actually the research and development part of the media industry. This is where new ideas happen, where they are developed. So it's actually a natural connection that people who love new technologies, new media, also are in this section. And so the festival asked me to particularly make a program about 3D movies, and this is what I've been doing ever since. So it's a very international and great team, and we're very happy to talk about it here.
Right, and it's very exciting, and I think it's definitely a fascinating journey all the way to Korea, but I think it also shows how international film communities are very connected all around the world. Now, the festival is currently underway, as we mentioned. Could you tell us what makes this year's Busan International Short Film Festival special? And we are also curious about the unique characteristics of this year's festival, the atmosphere of the venue, and the audience's reaction so far.
So every year, actually, we have a special country. We invite as a guest country, and this is giving a special focus. So for all the people in Busan, for example, this year France is the guest country. So if you are interested in seeing some special movies from France, this is a topic which is around this. So there will be many French movies, many French guests. So if you come here and you want to talk to some filmmakers, you actually can also meet the people. So this is not only watching screens, but we have an introduction to the movies, and after the movies, very often the filmmakers are present. So we invite everybody from Busan. If you want to discuss with the filmmakers, it's a great place to be there together.
Absolutely, absolutely. So sounds like very dynamic atmosphere, talking and having this conversation with directors themselves. And I think it's great to hear that audiences are actively engaging with films, but also directors, as you mentioned, bringing so many different perspectives, I'm sure. Well, how have you maintained your relationship with the festival while working as a programmer, and what are the important criteria that you consider when organizing the program?
Well, this is actually a very tough question, but because we have grown now to, we can say, to be one of the most important film festivals in Korea, and specialized on short films. And just to inform the audience, we have about 6,000 submissions every year. And we screen about 140 movies, so there is a very tough selection process in several steps where there are more than 20 people working in this process. And after this, the selection is actually a very high quality of international movies. And we have two sections. One is dedicated to a Korean competition. So, of course, we invite all the Korean filmmakers who are listening now to submit their short movies to the festival for next year. And the other section is the rest of the world who is competing for this section. And there's an international jury at the end who's going to choose the best movie. And the best movies in each section can actually participate in the selection for an Oscar for a short movie. So it's a very big opportunity.
Absolutely. Great opportunity. Starting from 6,000 movies and submissions, does that mean you watch all of those movies? Or how does that work?
This is impossible.
It is impossible.
There is actually a team of pre-selection members and maybe 20 people who analyze the movies if they fulfill certain criteria. Some levels are very, very different. But I was part of this selection process one time. It's really very difficult to make a fair choice all the filmmakers. But you suddenly start to make a list where you check A, B, C. But at the end, we're asked from 300 movies we watch to give a short list of 20 movies. So actually only the A movies make it to the next level. And this is then the level where the jury members can select from and that are then in the competition of the festival.
So for this film festival, this year you watched 300 films to go through. Wow, that's impressive. So through your experience encountering various works in the field, what trends or changes have you observed in short films these days?
I think there are a couple of trends. The new technology is actually also reflected by the social media, for example, people are using. So we have, on the one hand, people who still want to make movies for a large screen.
Right.
And this is maybe very important also for your audience. This is not something you can see on YouTube. This is not something you see on Instagram.
Right.
But the really feeling of cinema is in front of a 20-meter large screen like you have here in Busan. So these are experiences you will never forget. And we see maybe another kind of cinema which some people maybe call post-cinema, which are movies maybe created for smaller screens and also using different technologies. So AI, for example, is a subject that very often occurs in the movie, and we see now images that are generated and special effects that would almost have been impossible to make before, which suddenly create new imagery. And this is very exciting. So
I think
exciting. It's like a gold rush time. This area.
Wow. But also through that, you'll have to filter a lot of maybe less quality work as well, right? Or is that not something that you experience in the process?
This happens, but actually the level even from all the submissions is very high. So
that's great to hear.
I cannot tell you how difficult it is to choose. We don't have to choose between good movies and bad movies. We have to choose among the best movies.
Right.
This is really terribly difficult.
This is a great problem to have, right? Wow. Well, listeners, if you're just tuning into Busan Worldwide, we are in the middle of the interview with Mr. AlaricHama허, a programmer for the Busan International Short Film Festival. And we have lots of messages coming in from our listeners talking about, it's so great to hear from a programmer from Germany as well. And they are taking a lot of interest in today's topic, the Short Film Festival. Now, you have expertise in the fields of 3D and stereoscopic imaging. So could you tell us what sparked your interest in these areas and the direction of your research so far?
Well, I'm interested in this immersive feeling, and this was maybe the first time when I went to a large cinema when I was young, where I could see almost like in a virtual reality the people in front of you in 3 dimensions. So you have the feeling of sensuality. This is something you want to touch. You see the actors, you see the hair. So it becomes really something very immersive. And this kind of cinema is something which is really developing and coming back in waves. So there were some waves of this in the analog area with Avatar you mentioned before. Of course, there was the wave when the cinema became digital. And now maybe we have a new wave because there are quite affordable and good head-mounted displays. So in the whole area time of virtual reality, people watch on virtual big screens also new kinds of content, and this content is all stereoscopic and 3D. So you can see it as well in the cinema when you share it with others or by yourself if you are wearing a head-mounted display. So it's very exciting time.
It is exciting. And I think it's especially just considering how quickly visual technology is advancing, it's clear that these developments are definitely opening up new creative possibilities for filmmakers as well, which is very exciting to think about. Well, I've heard that 3D technology goes beyond just looking three-dimensional and changes how audiences experience experience sensory immersion. You mentioned it a little bit. How do you see it transforming film direction and narrative delivery beyond simple visual effects, especially from the perspective of a director's expression and the audience's experience? How do you think 3D elevates the quality and standard of cinema?
Well, that's a very tough question, but in the end, it is one aspect of cinema. You could say, for example, how does the color change the aspect of cinema compared to black and white with film, or when the sound was added? So you can say it's a kind of natural development, but it raises a lot of questions. In the first 3D movies that were made, people were thinking we would film more realistically. However, when you go to the cinema, you want to dream.
Right. We want more.
The idea of doing only realistic stuff can be at some point also a limitation in creativity.
Right.
And there where it really becomes interesting, and this is why a short film festival is so extraordinary, is when people start to experiment. And they start to do things you cannot see in Hollywood movies because they are very mainstream.
Right.
But in a short movie of 5 to 10 minutes, very creative director can try out something that they never did. So they mix layers, they make negative images, and suddenly you transcend the pure realism of an image to something which can resemble also to abstract art, and be a three-dimensional artwork you see on the screen. And in fact, in a 3D movie, there is no screen. The screen is like a window, so you have this space behind and in front of the screen, which becomes the whole area in which the action, objects, 3D animations, sometimes also things you don't know what it is, are taking place. So it's a very extraordinary adventure, and you can actually not describe it. You have to come to the cinema to actually experience it. So what we're doing with our 2 shows every time at this Busan Short Film Festival, you can never see this anywhere else. And so this is a very, very extraordinary part.
And lucky for Busanites, we can just go see it in our city. Beautiful, beautiful. And this year's festival includes a special exhibition of AI films and discussions. What kind of debates are taking place regarding the relationship between AI and cinema, and how are actual audiences receiving these changes?
I think the audience is very curious because you read that many things are possible. You can make a movie with a prompt, but this actually doesn't remove the necessity that you need an idea for making a movie.
Of course.
So there is still a lot of creativity that you need to have, and there's actually a very tough discussion about filmmakers. There was even the discussion whether we should accept movies using AI or made with AI. And the question people are rather discussing is, what does it actually mean to have a movie made by AI? So personally, I think it's important to write the name of a person in our catalog. So if we have this, I don't want, an AI to make the movies, but I think one point of the discussion is to consider AI as a tool, like you would say a typewriter is a tool. We don't need to write everything by hand. So maybe AI can also be a tool that creative people can use for the stories they want to tell. And there are definitely absolutely unbelievable new worlds that are emerging through this technology also.
Right. So you're saying AI will just be a tool or almost like a partner helping out, but directors and the storytelling ideas will be from human directors.
This is the kind of discussion people are having. Of course, you will have also people who completely disagree with me and would say, no, we want only the traditional way of filmmaking from the
AI.
moment where we are not using a lens and film or a camera anymore. This is not cinema. So there are many different positions, and I think we have no answer to this. But definitely a festival is the location where you discuss these things. So we invite everybody to participate, and at the end we will see where the journey goes.
Yeah, and that's why we need these debates to kind of walk away thinking, there are different perspectives on this, and where do we draw the line? But right now, it's not time to make a conclusion, but have a discussion about it. Absolutely, I agree. Well, listeners, if you're just tuning in, we are in the middle of the interview speaking with Mr. AlaricHamacher, a programmer for the Busan International Short Film Festival. Now, fortunately, we can still enjoy the Busan International Short Film Festival today and tomorrow. So could you introduce any programs or screenings that we shouldn't miss out during the remaining time?
Where there is some programs from the section of Asian movies. So this is a very interesting program. I recommend for people who want to see programs from all around Asia. We have a program also called Operation Kino. And this is a program where filmmakers from Busan actually and also from Korea are invited to create local stories and to bring them to the screen. And we have today in the evening also a 3D section. So people who would like to experiment what it is like to watch three-dimensional movies, this is going to be screened. And I was also very happy to make a little workshop during the time of this festival. So at the end of the session, we're going to add 2 movies that have been produced by students here from Busan and for this festival. So the students make the movie in 2 days and they can see the results directly on the biggest screen we have available.
So these films are made during the festival.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Very cool indeed. So listeners, if you're interested, it is going on until tomorrow. So if you want to enjoy, today and tomorrow is your time. Now, in an era of AI technology and new visual grammars, short films that capture stories in brief moments seem to resemble the sensibilities of our time. So what do you think are the unique values and meanings that short films are upholding, and what is the charm that only short films can offer?
That is also a very good question.
Charm of short film festival.
The charm of short films. Maybe let's first start with the necessity of short films.
Okay.
Because everybody who wants to make movies starts with a short film.
Right.
So we have actually all the filmmakers among them who are going to be famous next. So we don't know maybe how all of this is going to develop, but short films are definitely where everybody is starting who wants to go into the cinema industry. And we will see people try to define themselves. So this is like a painter who is trying to find its signature and its language. And you see this talent of storytelling, of making images, you can already see in a short movie, and it is usually based on these short movies, based on an award that is given at our festival, that these filmmakers maybe have the opportunity to get the financing for the next big movie. Right. So the success of a short movie is actually the door opener for getting to make a large movie or something later. So this festival is hugely important as a selection process for the next generation of filmmakers.
Right.
And I would say really short films are the research and development department of the film industry, because, for example, in the long movies, if you have a lot of budget involved, there is a tendency to also make some safe content. You don't want to take too many risks,
right,
to lose your money, to do something that is going to maybe hurt the audience or is maybe going to be too controversial.
Yeah.
But in the short movie, actually, you have much more freedom because you are encouraged to be controversial.
Right.
You are encouraged to do something new, and the attention span maybe of 5 to 10 or 30 minutes, which is the maximum length, gives you the chance to create really a new way of storytelling, and this is what the people in the audience are actually watching. So in a program you see 5 movies, so this is like seeing 5 different authors, filmmakers, and it's a very, very compact way of like going through a museum and analyzing different works of art.
Oh, I love that perspective, going through a museum, enjoying different artists' art. And I do think that when you're trying to find your identity as an artist, your brand or who you are as an artist, that's the most exciting time. Not for them, maybe. It is stressful, I'm sure, for them, but for an audience member or as a viewer, I think it's the most exciting time because they can try different things. There could be really exciting ideas that we've never seen before, and that's where short film has that charm, right? I definitely agree. Now, what are some of the most memorable moments for you or impressive scenes that you've experienced while working with the film festival over the years?
Actually, one of the most interesting experience is that the young filmmakers actually come here. And we have a tendency that we now have even guests who are filmmakers whose film maybe has been refused by our festival, but they still like the festival so much that they come to the festival because they say, okay, this is just a place where we discuss about movies. We are until late in the evening discussing how the future of cinema is going to develop, and people are all very excited in this area. And from the international guests also, I think we live in a world where maybe there are conflicts sometimes, and coming together to talk about a topic like art or cinema is something very beautiful to show that we as a humanity actually have a common positive connection between each other. So if you are from a country in Northern America, or if you are in the Middle East or in Africa, people all can communicate around what they love the most, and we are very happy to integrate and to give the people to show their identity and to talk about what is important for them. And in this, I think our festival is definitely one I love the most and is the most extraordinary. So I can only say something positive. So I invite everybody to participate, to meet people from other countries and to discuss. So I think we are very lucky to be able to do this here in Busan.
Right, absolutely. Very international, and not just seeing a movie, but ending it with discussions and debates as well, and hearing directly from directors and seeing different directors and young artists from all over the world. And we can do that here in Busan. That's amazing. We have Jenny messaging in saying short film의 매력이 분명히 있다고 여겨집니다. So she definitely agrees that there's this charm and charm of short films. And yes, we do have a couple more days to enjoy it. Before we wrap up, though, can you share your last words with our listeners tuning in right now?
I think the most important thing for us is that we actually want the audience to participate.
Right.
The movies are on the screen, but it comes to life if the audience is coming. So we are really very happy, and we want to make a program. We want to make it as interesting as possible for all the people who are here in Busan, and we would love to see more audience, people coming to enjoy, and I think this is really a unique opportunity. And even if it's international, it means also it is national. So there is a big room for the Koreans here in Busan to participate, and we would love to see them all coming to our festival. So this is our biggest wish, and this is why we are also working so hard to make this attractive for the people who come here.
And every year, right, we have it here in Busan. And this is just a reminder that you can go check it out today and tomorrow, if not, next year as well. Thank you again for joining us today and giving us a deeper look into the festival. That's going to do it for today's The Interview with AlaricHamaher, a programmer for the Busan International Short Film Festival. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very very much. It's a big honor to be on your show, and thank you for all the interest. And to all the listeners, please visit us, and if not this year, then definitely please come next year.
Yes, absolutely. And that's going to do it for today's The Interview. Let's take a quick song break. This is 소녀시대 with 다시 만난 세계.
전해주고 싶었을 듯이
And that was 소녀시대 with 다시 만난 세계. What a good song. All right, well, listeners, thank you so much for tuning into Busan Worldwide. The time is now 11:42. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday so far. Lots of messages coming in about short films, the guests, and even food from Germany as well. We have 재봉님이 messaging in. 카메라가 처음 나왔을 때 화가들이 반발이 심했다 하지만 여전히 화가들은 존재하듯이 영화 제작도 마찬가지이지 않을까요? 라고 보내주셨어요. Right, that's a great way to think about it, right? Thank you so much for messaging in. We also have Colleen-님 messaging in, Jenny-님, Kevin-님, we see you. Danny-lee-님, thank you so much for messaging in. And Jerry-님 as well as 고수님, thank you all for messaging in. 고수님 saying 예전이나 요즘 영화 할 것 없이 특수효과는 신기합니다. 그만큼 영화가 많이 발전했고 수준이 높다는 증거 아닐까요? Absolutely. I think there are just too many memorable and impressive special effects that you see in movies. And that goes back to today's text topic question. What's the most memorable special effect you've seen in a movie? 지금까지 가장 기억에 남는 영화 속 특수효과는 무엇인가요? 였는데요. Let me read just one more. We have 6167번님 messaging in. Inception. 도시가 접히는 장면이요. I remember that. 도시가 위로 접히면서 현실의 물리법칙이 무너지는 장면이 정말 충격적이었어요. Actually, watching Inception, it made me a little bit dizzy while watching it because it kind of broke my perception and just my what I'm used to, right, seeing. So definitely, that was impressive indeed. Well, with that, let's jump into our final segment of the day.
BEFM's The Interview is waiting for your participation. If you have any interesting stories to tell or unique experiences you'd like to share with our listeners, please leave a message on our website at www.befm.or.kr. We hope that your lives and experiences can be an inspiration for our listeners.
Welcome back to Busan Worldwide. It's time for Correspondent Reports. Let's turn to New Zealand for the latest updates. Our correspondent 조정현 is on the line. 네, 오늘은 뉴질랜드 소식 들어보겠습니다. 뉴질랜드의 조정현 통신원, 안녕하십니까?
네, 안녕하세요.
네, 반갑습니다. Now, today is a public holiday in New Zealand, I believe, so let's hear a bit about that. 뉴질랜드는 오늘이 공휴일이죠?
네, 그렇습니다. 4월 25일 안작데이가 토요일이었기 때문에 오늘이 대체 공휴일이 됐습니다.
그렇군요. So since Anzac Day is on actually April 25th and it fell on a Saturday, today has become a substitute public holiday. So could you explain what Anzac Day is about? 안작데이에 대해서 설명 부탁드릴게요.
네, 안작데이는 1차 세계대전 당시 갈리폴리 전투에 참전했던 호주, 뉴질랜드 연합군을 기리는 날로 시작했는데요. 지금은 나라를 위해 희생한 모든 이들을 추모하는 가장 경건한 날로 자리 잡았습니다. 우리나라로 치자면 현충일과 같은 국가 추념일로 볼 수 있겠습니다.
그렇군요. 한국의 현충일과도 비교되면서 이해가 더 쉬워지는 것 같은데요. So Anzac Day actually began as a day to honor the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, also known as Anzac, who fought in a battle of Gallipoli during World War I. And today it has established itself as the most solemn day to commemorate all those who sacrificed their lives for the country. It can be seen as a national Memorial Day, similar to Memorial Day here in Korea, 현충일. Well, let's turn to today's main story. First story. 그럼 오늘 첫 소식 들어볼게요.
네, 안작데이가 주는 희생과 평화라는 메시지가 무색하게도 오클랜드에서는 평화의 소녀상 건립을 둘러싼 갈등이 지역 문제를 넘어 한국과 일본 그리고 뉴질랜드 정부까지 얽힌 외교 문제로 커지고 있습니다.
그렇군요. So despite the message of sacrifice and peace that Anzac Day brings, a conflict surrounding the building of the Statue of Peace in Auckland is escalating beyond a local issue into a diplomatic problem involving South Korea, Japan, and the New Zealand government. So first, could you explain how the situation started? 우선 이 사건이 어떻게 시작됐는지부터 설명 부탁드릴게요.
네, 오클랜드 북부 타카푸나 지역의 메리스 포인트 리저브라는 공원 안에 한국 문화 정원이 조성 중인데요. 한국의 한 시민단체가 이곳에 소녀상을 기증하겠다고 하면서 논의가 시작됐습니다. 당초에는 한국 문화를 알리고 공원 미관을 개선하는 조형물 정도로 소개돼서 지역위원회에 승인을 얻는 듯 했습니다.
I see. So a Korean cultural garden is currently being developed within a park called Barry's Point Reserve in the Takapuna area of North Auckland. The discussion began when a South Korean civic group offered to donate the statue to the site. Initially, it was introduced as a sculpture to promote Korean culture and improve the park's aesthetics, and it seemed to be gaining approval from the local board. Then what led to the sudden shift in public perception? 이 분위기가 바뀌게 된 결정적인 계기는 무엇이었나요?
네, 작년 8월경이었는데요. 해당 조형물이 일본군 위안부 피해자를 상징하는 평화의 소녀상이라는 사실이 뒤늦게 명확해지면서 일본 총영사관이 즉각 반발하고 나섰습니다. 일본 총영사관 측은 이 동상이 설치되면 지역사회에 분열이 생기고 뉴질랜드와 일본의 자매결연 관계도 악화될 것이라며 강력하게 항의했습니다.
I see. So around August of last year, as it became clear that the sculpture was indeed the Statue of Peace, symbolizing the victims of Japanese military sexual slavery, the Japanese Consulate General immediately protested. They argued strongly that installing the statue would cause division within the local community and deteriorate the sister cities' relationships between New Zealand and Japan. So has the project been temporarily suspended? 결국 소녀상 건립 사업은 일시 중단된 상태인가요?
그렇습니다. 반발이 너무 거세서 현재는 일시 중단된 상태입니다. 그리고 오클랜드 시의회는 올해 1월 시민들의 의견을 묻는 공식 설문조사를 진행했는데요. 그 설문조사가 최근에 공개됐습니다.
I see. So due to the intense opposition, the project is currently suspended. In January of this year, the Auckland Council conducted an official public survey to understand citizens' opinions, and the results were recently released. Out of 672 submissions, 57% were against the installation, while 43% were in favor. Then how are the local communities responding to this issue? 그럼 현지 사회의 반응은 전반적으로 어떤가요?
일단 총 672건의 의견이 접수가 됐는데 건립 반대가 57%, 찬성이 43%로 나타났습니다.
그렇군요. Now, I do want to talk about how the Japanese community and embassy how they have been reacting as well. 그럼 일본은 커뮤니티와 대사관 측이 강력하게 반대하고 나선 건가요?
네, 그렇습니다. 주 뉴질랜드 일본 대사가 직접 시의회에 강경한 내용을 담은 의견서를 보내 동상이 세워지면 뉴질랜드 정부도 일본을 비판하는 데 동의하는 것으로 볼 수 있다는 논리로 뉴질랜드 정부를 강하게 압박하고 있습니다.
I see. So the Japanese ambassador to New Zealand personally sent a strongly worded submission to the council. They pressured the New Zealand government with the logic that if the statue is built, it could appear as if the New Zealand government agrees with the criticism of Japan. So then what is happening next? 그럼 앞으로 어떻게 되는 건가요?
네, 내일 4월 28일 화요일에 데본포트 타카푸나 지역위원회에서 최종 승인 여부를 결정합니다. 뉴질랜드 외교부는 동상 설치는 지방정부의 소관이라며 일단 발을 빼고 있지만 일본 대사관의 공식 항의를 받은 상태라서 심리적 부담이 클 것으로 보입니다.
I see. So now the Devonport Takapuna local board will make the final decision on approval tomorrow, Tuesday, April 28th local time, while the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade is distancing itself by stating that the installation is a local government matter. They likely feel significant psychological pressure having received a formal protest from the Japanese embassy. Well, let's move on to our final story. There are reports of controversy in New Zealand's politics involving racism. So could you explain what happened? 네, 다음 소식 드릴게요. 최근 뉴질랜드 정치권에서 인종차별 논란이 제기되고 있는데요. 어떤 내용인지 설명 부탁드릴게요.
네, 뉴질랜드 퍼스트 세인 존스 의원이 인도와의 자유무역 협정 반대에 대해서 버터 치킨 쓰나미가 몰려오는 것에 동의하지 않는다는 발언을 해 인도인 이민자가 급증하는 것을 인도 음식에 비하했다는 비판을 받고 있습니다.
I see. So Shane Johns, a MP from New Zealand First Party, expressed opposition to a free trade agreement with India by stating he doesn't agree to a butter chicken tsunami coming in. So he is being criticized for using an Indian dish as a metaphor to talk about the surge in Indian immigrants. So how have the political leaders responded to the remark?
이 발언에 대해서 정치권에선 어떤 반응을 보이고 있나요?
네, 여당의 카를로스 청 의원은 이민자 출신의 입장에서 이 발언은 명백한 인종차별이라며 강하게 규탄했고 연립정부인 액트당 데이비드 세모어 대표는 수준 낮은 아재 개그라고 비꼬았습니다. 크리스토퍼 럭슨 총리는 받아들일 수 없는 발언이라고 선을 그으면서도 인도로 키위 프루트 쓰나미가 가는 것을 보고 싶다며 재치 있게 화제를 돌리기도 했습니다.
그렇군요. So indeed, Carlos Chung, an MP from the ruling party, strongly condemned the statement as clear racism from an immigrant's perspective. David Seymour, the leader of the ACT Party and the coalition, mocked it as lame dad jokes. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon drew a line, calling it an unacceptable comment, but also, literally, he shifted the focus by saying he would like to see a kiwi fruit tsunami going to India instead. Well, that's going to do it for today's topics coming from New Zealand.
네, 오늘 뉴질랜드 소식은 여기까지 듣겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
네, 지금까지 뉴질랜드에서 조정현 통신원이었습니다. 감사합니다.
All right, and that's going to do it for all the segments we have prepared for you today. Final song is by 옥상 달빛 with 들꽃처럼. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.